All right, I just recorded a very boring video about this, but I figured I'd just go ahead and summarize it instead. So I just picked this one up. I have the pieces here in front of me, and the goal was to try to utilize this helmet piece or mask or head, whatever you want to call it, with basically any head that came out during Bionicle, during Hero Factory, during G2, etc. Right? I found one that works, and it's not a Bionicle head. It's a Hero Factory head. Specifically, the Savage Planet head, or I guess the 2.0 head here. The way that it works allows you to actually put in one of those horn pieces here, and then it'll just kind of hold in place. Now, it can lift up, but it'll stop at that point right there, and then it'll rest here, but it won't come off. So if I want to put it on or take it off, I kind of tilt it to the side like that, and then it comes off, right? So you see how I did that? But that's it. That just works. That just works. That's great. That was about it, though. I tried with the G2 head because the dimensions are roughly the same, but Lego added a little bit of extra plastic in here, probably for structural reinforcement, but unfortunately it also gets in the way of basically every other Bionicle head, meaning that you really can't use it with any real amounts of success. Some things it'll clip on to, not well. You can do it on this head facing backwards, by clipping it into the same points as the masks. The connections here are a lot more stiff, though, so you gotta actually, like, try pretty hard to get it in there. But if I can align it, there we go, right there, yeah. It'll kind of align like this. So it does leave you that connection open. You could maybe connect something through there to get to roughly the eyes area, and that would give you the ball socket and eyes if you can figure something out that works there. I could figure out a handful of like lift arms and things that'd work. But it stays on there really well. It just doesn't really do anything else. And it looks a little weird to have the G2 head sticking out of the back of it. I guess if you got the transparent one, it could work out reasonably well. I tried with the Metru head. I tried with the Stars head, which really doesn't have any connection from the side. I tried with the Brain Attack head, as well as the Glatorian head, the Mata head, the Matoran head. Nothing else really worked. I did want to show something with the Matoran head, though. If you take the helmet and just drop it over, it can do that. So that's neat, I guess. You can have the character like wear it or sport it temporarily. It can move, and it doesn't actually connect to anything. It just rests on top of it. But it's nice to have the option. Remember, this comes in 3 different colors, including red, but also this Keat Orange color here and the dark azure. So really wonderful colors. Red is going to have the most support for classic Bionicle if you wanted to use it with that head specifically. The Keat Orange, I think, could be reasonably close to yellow. It's not a perfect match, obviously. They're different colors. But the actual piece here is gorgeous. And it's a little bit bigger than I was expecting, too. For what it's worth, it pairs with this ball piece here, which I also have not had experience with. And it pairs with these wings, which I actually attached incorrectly, but intentionally so, which I'll show that here in a minute. Let me go ahead and actually attach the dragon head to this really quick so you can see it, how it kind of looks. That's the dragon. It's a fairly small little build. It's cute, though. The wings come in 3 colors as well. All 3 of the wing colors are blended. In this case, it's blended with trans yellow. On the box, it looks trans neon green, but that is not true. I knew that going in, though, so I'm not upset about it. Also, interestingly, the wings, the way they're dual molded is kind of on one side of the wings. So when you flip it over, you get this kind of milky texture on the other side, which could be cool if Lego mirrors them. So if like there's some out there that are like a left version and a right version, that would be neat. If they're all only ever dual molded on the one side though, or marbled on the one side though, that'd get a little annoying because it'd mean that the wings would basically never match if you had them both facing you, right? Like this wing looks slightly different from this wing, but I don't know if you can see it from the camera, and it's just because of that extra texture, if you want to call it that. So I'm trying to get the camera to focus. It's not gonna. With that said, though, I don't really have space to test this function out right now, but I just wanted to show you the connection of that tail piece, if you want to call it that. It looks kind of like a sword to me, which I think is kind of cool. But it's a very loose connection, but it does work. It's loose intentionally, again, and the idea is that when you press down on it, it pushes against this slope, and the whole thing launches forward. That's really the whole thing, though. It's a cute little dragon. It's 27 pieces for the entire set. not just the dragon, but it is the biggest of the 3 dragons parts wise, only because it comes with the smaller hook pieces, meaning there's 2 pieces there instead of 1. With this one here, though, it's actually supposed to connect like this. You can see why I don't like that. The hooks just get way too close to the head here, and the way that this function is supposed to work is that you're supposed to put your finger inside of here, and then when you slam it, it's supposed to spin away. But there's nowhere for your finger to escape here, so it wouldn't work as well on this dragon. Essentially, this one's supposed to be a smaller dragon, a babier dragon, I guess, than the other 2. I don't care for it. I would just say, honestly, to connect it with the wings the way the other 2 connect. But it's nice to have the extra bar connection here for your own builds. The wings are actually pretty generously sized. I think they're 11 by 6, just eyeballing it here. And so that works out reasonably well. They're really cool pieces. I do like the aesthetic of them a lot. I think obviously they look like wings, but you could use them as sort of like an energy effect or something too, and I think you could get away with it pretty well. I like the trans yellow with the key orange more than I thought I would, probably because there's just way more of the trans yellow than I expected, and that may differ between sets. The other 2 come with dark azure with trans light blue, I think. I would have preferred trans dark blue because it's a gorgeous color combined with dark azure. And then the other one is red with trans orange, just regular orange, not neon. Which, yeah, pretty cool stuff. So I could definitely see, I mentioned this already, someone using this as a weapon of some kind. The underside of it's not the most attractive, but it's fine. And honestly, like if someone modified a piece like this, or, you know, I could probably resin cast this piece and modify the resin cast to add an axle or an axle hole or something down here, and then just remove this entirely, flatten it out a little bit. You can actually get a pretty decent looking sword out of something like this. I think you'd personally probably want to mirror it so it looks like this on both sides. And obviously it'd be a very weird looking sword because it's not like the longest weapon in the world, and it's very broad. But as like a fantasy sword, I could definitely see it. So it's a really cool piece. I do like it quite a lot. And I think I like the gold here overall better than I expected, mostly because on the box art, basically everywhere else, it just looks too close to the key orange. But having it in hand, it's not bad, actually. There's only 1 gold piece on the dragon itself, but it's the body, you know, so it's the biggest piece on here. But it's not like super sparkly or anything, so it just kind of feels like a different tone of a yellow hue or a nougat kind of hue to it. And I think it works out reasonably well. The last thing I was going to point out here is that you have a connection for your character to ride in. It's just like a saddle connection here. And then you have these openings on the bottom, but those are not anti-studs. I don't have anything studded near me that I can test this with right now. So I'll probably test it on my own time just to see. Oh, interesting. Lego did think of something here. I didn't notice this in the pictures at all. One of the things I was worried about is just the amount of surface area here contacting the ground, right? Because I didn't think this is going to slide very well. Now, the ball joint here, or the ball inside of the mouth, does have a hole here, so you kind of get a little roll out of it, and it's loose, so it can move around really easily. You can't really see it much on camera, but there's a very, very slight bump, like maybe 1 millimeter at most, probably about a 0.5 millimeter bump here, and that means that it's going to just have those 3 points of contact on a hard surface. On carpet and stuff, it's going to just contact no matter what, but at least they thought of something, so I will take that at the very least. I would have loved to have seen anti-stud connections here. Again, I will test it with Lego pieces either way just to see if maybe you can put some like boat sliders or something on there. But yeah, I think it's an interesting little build, little piece here in general. The only other, I think, exclusive thing in the set is the Kopesh in oh, is that a different mold too? I'm not familiar with this little bump on the end here. I'll have to look at my mold again because I don't remember having that, but I have one of these in the titanium color. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It does really help out. And of course, as always, you can check out other videos on the channel. Of course, you can also join the conversation in the comments or check out the links in the description for Discord, Instagram, or Patreon. Want to support the channel, get some perks in the description below. Make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.